Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by for China Online Education Group's third quarter 2020 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. After management's prepared remarks, there will be a question and answer session. Today's conference call is being recorded. I'll now turn the call over to your host, Ms. Judy Piao, Investor Relations for the company. Please go ahead, Judy.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third quarter 2020 earnings conference call of China Online Education Group, also known as 51 Talk. The company's results were issued via newswire services earlier today and are posted online. You can download the earnings press release and sign up for the company's distribution list by visiting the IR section of its website at ir.51talk.com. Mr. Jack Huang, our Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Ming Xu, our CFO, will begin with some prepared remarks. Following the prepared remarks, Ming Zhang, our COO, will also join the call for our Q&A session. Before we continue, please note that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under the Safe Harbor provision of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's results may be materially different from the views expressed today. Further information regarding this and other risks and uncertainties is included in the company's Form 20-F and other public filings as filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements except as required under the applicable law. Please also note that 51 Talk's earnings press release and this conference call includes discussions of unaudited GAAP financial information as well as unaudited non-GAAP financial measures. 51 Talk's press release contains a reconciliation of the unaudited non-GAAP measures to the unaudited most directly comparable GAAP measures. I will now turn the call over to our CEO, Jack Huang. Please go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining our earnings conference call. We are pleased to report another robust quarter of solid financial and operating results. Our third quarter performance proves the merits of our strategy focused on the K-12 one-on-one mass market offering in non-tier 1 cities and showcases our ability to execute our initiatives. Highlights of the quarter included net revenues reaching RMB 538.5 million, up 31.8% year-over-year, surpassing the top end of our guidance, with contribution from our K-12 one-on-one mass market offering growing by 46% year-over-year to hit RMB 471.8 million. Moreover, the number of active students on our platform in the third quarter grew to 338,000, up 30.9% compared to the third quarter in 2019. In the third quarter, our gross billings reached 728.4 million RMB, growing 33.1% year-over-year, of which our K-12 one-on-one mass market gross billing grew 37.2% to 692.2 million RMB. Clearly, families across China are gaining greater familiarity and comfort with online learning channels and recognizing the strong value we provide. As they do, they are sharing their positive experiences with their friends, and our high-quality brand reputation is spreading. In October, We were honored to be invited as the only online education enterprise to join the 2020 China Annual Conference for International Education and provide key inputs for future guidelines and requirements for online foreign teachers in China. At the conference, we signed a framework agreement with the China Education Association for International Exchange to jointly create recruiting and training standards for online foreign teachers. These standards will become part of China Ministry of Education's policies regulating the online foreign teachers. We are excited to be part of this national level working group. We look forward to sharing our experience working with thousands of online foreign teachers and helping shape the future of the industry. Also in October, we hosted our 2020 Sino-Philippines Educational Exchanges Seminar attended by education and government leaders, including the ambassador from China and the Philippines. Through live streaming, we engaged over 5,000 people from China and the Philippines to celebrate 45th anniversary of the establishment diplomatic relations between the two countries, showing mutual cooperation and our positive role in cross-border relations. This video receives the Guinness World Records Award for the largest online video album of people waving. In conclusion, our K-12 one-on-one mass market non-tier 1 city strategy is working. Our teams are executing, and the groundwork we've laid is allowing us to take advantage of more and more market opportunities. With these pieces in place, we will continue to contribute sustained long-term growth and maintain the balanced bottom line achievements. With that, I will now turn the call to our CFO, Ximing.
Thank you, Jack. We continued our growth momentum in Q3, achieving solid top-line increment, coupled with another quarter of profitability, our fourth consecutive profitable quarter. As the demand for online education continues to accelerate, our strategy to pursue balanced growth is delivering as planned. As an example of this can be seen in our decision during the quarter to increase non-GAAP sales and marketing expenses by 31% year-over-year to capture certain market opportunities, and increase non-GAAP product development expenses by 13% year-over-year to further improve our technology platform and curriculum. Despite the increase in expense, we still recorded profitability this quarter, with non-GAAP net income coming at 38.5 million RMB, excluding the 15 million RMB favorable impact of coronavirus relief policies in the third quarter. Our non-GAAP net profit margin would have been 4.4%. Additionally, our operating cash flow reached 186.1 million RMB. Looking ahead, we will continue on our pathway of sustained growth and executing our strategies that bring to students in this rapidly developing market our strong value proposition for learning English. Now let me walk you through our third quarter financial details. Net revenues for the third quarter were 538.5 million RMB, a 31.8% year-over-year growth. This increase was primarily attributable to the increases in the number of active students. Our number of active students in the third quarter was 338,000, a 30.9% year-over-year growth. Gross profit for the third quarter was 391.8 million RMB, a 33.9% year-over-year growth. Gross margin for the third quarter was 72.8%, compared with 71.6% for the same quarter last year. One-on-one offering gross margin for the third quarter was 73.2%, compared with 72.7% for the same quarter last year. The margin increase was mainly attributable to improvement of efficiency of American Academy lessons. Gross margin for 51 Talk's small class offering for the third quarter was 63.6%, compared with 56% for the third quarter of 2019. The increase was mainly due to a favorable mix of higher margin products. Total operating expenses for the third quarter were 379.6 million RMB, a 26.8% year-over-year increase. Sales and marketing expenses for the third quarter were 282.8 million RMB, a 31.3% year-over-year increase. Excluding the share-based compensation expenses, non-GAAP sales and marketing expenses for the third quarter was 280.6 million RMB, a 30.6% year-over-year increase. Non-GAAP sales and marketing expenses, excluding branding expenses, were 31.8% of the gross billing for the third quarter, compared with 32.6% for the same quarter last year. Product development expenses for the third quarter were 43.8 million RMB, a 14% year-over-year increase. Excluding share-based compensation expenses, non-GAAP product development expenses for the third quarter were 42.1 million RMB, a 12.8% year-over-year increase. G&A expenses for the third quarter were 53 million RMB, a 16.2 million year-over-year increase. Excluding share-based compensation, non-GAAP G&A expenses for the third quarter were 50 million RMB, a 14.2% year-over-year increase. Since the first quarter of this year, we added other income line above the operating income in our income statement. Other income for the third quarter was 9.3 million RMB, which included 7.6 million RMB VAT exemption and 1.7 million RMB super deduction. Operating income for the third quarter was 21.4 million RMB, compared with loss from operations of 6.7 million RMB for the same quarter last year. Non-GAAP operating income for the third quarter was 28.3 million RMB, compared with non-GAAP loss from operations of 3.3 million RMB for the same quarter last year. The total favorable impact of coronavirus relief policies was 15 million RMB in the third quarter. Excluding this impact, non-GAAP operating income for the third quarter would have been 13.3 million RMB, representing a 2.5% non-GAAP operating margin. Net income for the third quarter was 31.6 million RMB, compared with net loss of 5.8 million RMB for the same quarter last year. Non-GAAP net income for the third quarter was 38.5 million RMB, compared with non-GAAP loss of 2.3 million RMB for the same quarter last year. Excluding the favorable impact of coronavirus relief policies of 15 million RMB in the third quarter, non-GAAP net income for the third quarter would have been 23.5 million RMB, representing net margin of 4.4%. Diluted EPS for the third quarter was 1.38 RMB, compared with EPS of negative 0.28 RMB for the same quarter last year. Each ADS represents 15 Class A ordinary shares. Non-GAAP diluted EPS for the third quarter was 1.68 RMB, compared with EPS negative 0.11 RMB for the same quarter last year. As of September 30, 2020, the company had total cash equivalent, time deposits, and short-term investments of 1.6 billion RMB, compared with 1.1 billion RMB as of December 31, 2019. The company had advances from students of 2.6 billion RMB as of September 30, 2020, compared with 2.2 billion RMB as of December 31, 2019. Now let's talk about outlook. While there are still uncertainties related to the coronavirus pandemic during the remainder of 2020, based on latest information available, we currently expect Q4 net revenues to be between 525 million to 530 million RMB, which would represent 32.2% to 33.4% year-over-year increase from 397.2 million RMB for the same quarter last year. The above outlook is based on the current market conditions and reflects the company's current and preliminary estimates of the market and operating conditions and customer demand, which are all subject to change. On September 8th, 2020, 51Talk announced that its board of directors has authorized a share repurchase program of up to $20 million between September 2020 and September 2021. As of November 19, the company had repurchased close to 70,000 ADSs for approximately $1.7 million under this program. This concludes our prepared remarks. We will now open the call to questions. Operator, please go ahead.
Thank you. For the benefit of all participants on today's call, if you wish to ask your question to management in Chinese, please immediately repeat your question in English. To ask a question, you may press star then one on your touch-tone phone. If you are using a speakerphone, please pick up your handset before pressing the keys. To withdraw your question, please press star then two. At this time, we'll pause momentarily to assemble our roster. Our first question is from Vincent Yu from Needham & Company. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Benjamin, for taking my question. My first question is, how should we think about the active student trends and the gross billing trends in first quarter and the fourth quarter and the first quarter? Things such as the tough comp and the potential year-over-year decrease. Second question is on the student behavior areas in terms of like user time spent, number of classes taken per student compared to last year during the summer break. Third question is, as we approach 2021, can we share some color on what will likely to drive 51Talk's growth in next year? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vincent.
我先回答一些这个趋势性的问题吧，
Okay,
然后再讲一下那些具体的数据，好不好？就是我先讲一下我们的大的这个方向，因为我们现在认为呢，我们公司呢，其实在整个的这个在线英语教育行业当中呢，其实还是有一个非常好的这个竞争的位置，因为我们的品牌呢，其实已经在这个市场当中已经初步的建立起来我们的品牌的一些壁垒。那么我们今年以来的从这个第三季度开始，其实我们有一个非常重要的一个战略性的方向呢，就是我们把我们的首单的价格呀，我们开始做大幅度的这个下调啊，所以呢，这个呢会带来我们的这个新增用户的这个快速的增长。就所以呢，其实我们待会我们整个的其实从第三季度开始就已经开始，我们开始做这个首单客单价的这个下调啊，所以其实我们可以看到我们整个的第三季度的新增用户数其实也是我们一个创纪录的数字。我们在第三季度呢，我们的这个新增的 K12 用户数对比去年同期其实已经基本上有一个超过大概是一个超过68%的年对年的这个新增用户数的这个增幅这个应该也是一个非常快的这个增长。那么第四季度呢，那么同样我们是相信我们现在的这个方向呢，也是会继续的把这个首单的客单价呢会去做下调，那么从而让我们的这个门槛让我们更好的去实现 address 到我们要的目标客户群，那么就是在2、3线城市的这些主流的客户群。 所以我们相信第四季度的这个新增用户的增速呢，应该还是会不错但是呢，因为我们的客单价呢，在第四季度会对比去年的第四季度会有一个不小幅度的下调所以我们在今年第四季度的这个现金收入我们其实预估呢，可能会比今年的第三季度呢会有一个这个会有一个小幅的这个下降当然了，对比去年同期呢，肯定是一个增长的这个趋势。那么最后呢，再回答您刚刚说到2021年的增长的 driver 因为我们相信我们今年下半年把我们的整个的门槛降低下来，把这个首单的客单价降下来。当然，这是因为我们第一个呢，我们希望进一步的增强我们在市场当中的市场竞争力。另外呢，我们是对于长期的用户的留存呢，还是非常的有信心。所以呢，我们也是希望呢，这个用更快的用户增长，来作为我们整个的2021年明年的一个这个我们成长的这个驱动力。因为大家看到我们大概我们超过这个我们在这个季度大概超过68%的用户新增用户呢是来自于转介绍。那么当我们有了更多的用户的时候呢，我们就有了更多的转介绍的这些种子用户，那么会进一步的这个加速我们的用户增长所以用户的增长其实从我们今年以来一直也是当做我们公司我们看用户增长看得比我们的收入增长要更重。那么我们相信今年的这些用户增长的基础会为我们整个明年的用户增长会打下一个很好的基础。Okay.
All right. So Jack will talk about some trend. I'll fill in some of the details. So number one, we're seeing we're doing quite well in in Q3 and Q4. We're 51Talk as a company is well established, and we have a very good brand and have very good reputation among our students and parents. And so in Q3 we started to take some measures. Actually, we mentioned this before. We start to cut our course package size in order to lower the total price in order to drive the user growth. So this is very, very important for us. For example, in Q3, the new paying students number for our K-12 business increased more than 68% year over year. So this is a very significant growth. And in Q4, we plan to continue to execute on this strategy. We will continue to cut our course package size, and in order to target our customers in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And if you look at 2021 growth, and because we have confidence in our students' retention, so what we're continue to do is that we will continue to execute our strategy to decrease the package size and to drive the user growth. As you know that in this quarter in Q3, 68% of our new users are from referrals. So the bigger our user base is, the more students we're going to get from referral. So we believe this is a great strategy for us. So that kind of concluded Jack's comment, and I'll give you some comments on the active students as well as the gross billing trend in Q4 and maybe in Q1. So basically, if you see that our active students, we will continue to have very healthy growth in Q4 and Q1, and we believe that the trend will continue, and even in Q1, because we believe our engagement, our students' engagement, really helping us to improve their retention, and in addition, because we're driving user growth, so there are more and more new users coming onto our platform. And so naturally, they're going to start with new active students. So we believe with our strategy to continue the user growth, our active students growth will continue to be very healthy. And in terms of the gross billing, as Jack mentioned earlier, so we are actually looking at to decrease our average package size. So you're likely going to see that our average order size will decline maybe 20% year over year in Q4. Which is a pretty steep decline. However, our net paying students number are likely going to grow more than 45% year over year. So, with that, we're still going to see our gross billing to grow probably 20% year over year. So this is definitely slower than previous quarters, but we believe this is a small price, we can afford in order to drive user growth because, for us, we have very healthy cash flow and we have huge number of deferred revenue. So it actually helps for us to, slow down the gross billing growth to kind of slow down the increase of deferred revenue, but a increasing user base is actually more important for us. And you also want to ask about the user behavior. So when we look at the user behavior, I think there is, if we look at this summer, actually, in China, mostly the life has been back to normal. And the user behavior, it's quite similar to past summer. And, what we can see is that, the ARPU of our students remain flat. And, so that, at the same time, we're seeing, obviously, the lesson consumption, average lesson consumption for students is not going to be as active as in Q1 and Q4 this year. So you're likely going to see the lesson consumption decline in double digits. However, that's going to be more than compensated by increase in our active students. So I do not believe you're going to see a year-over-year decline. So we're still going to see year-over-year growth, but obviously it's going to be much, much lower than current Q1's year-over-year increase of 52%. It's more than likely going to be, below the normal 30% year-over-year growth we were normally seeing in the normal quarter. So I hope this answer your question.
Yes, very helpful. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Ming.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Vince.
The next question comes from Fan Jiang from Benchmark. Please go ahead.
Jack 你还有张总你们好，我的问题其实也是在这个 active student 增长这块，因为你们最近几个 quarter 非常 impressive， 我想了解一下，就是你们现在新增的这个就是活跃用户里头，他们的画像跟你们老用户我不知道有没有什么不一样另外一点的话就是说我不知道你们在那个销售团队和销售策略上是不是有一定的调整和改变。包括我不知道，就是说你们现在就是说这个 target 这种城市是不是还是这个 tier 2、tier 3，然后包括你们对比如说 tier 1的一些想法。而且刚才你也提到过，就是你们现在的就 driving strategy 就是这个 growth driver 可能来自于新用户增长，但在你们来这么多新用户的情况下，你们怎么来保证这个新用户的 retention？Just quickly translate my questions. Still regarding your active student growth, was very impressive growth in the past quarters. Just wonder what's the user profile for your new acquired active user, and particularly your strategy in terms of how you continue to drive the growth of new users, as well as the retention of the new users.
OK， 好，我先简单的回答一下。那么首先呢，是关于我们现在的这些今年进来的这些 active student 的用户画像应该说呢，这个他们基本上呢跟我们在去年看到的这些用户呢并没有本质的差别比如说我们从这个城市线的维度讲那么还是超过70%呢来自于非一线城市那么可能我们可以看到有一个比较大的变化呢，就是今年我们可以看到一线城市即使是在一线城市，我们的用户增长也是在开始非常明显的提速当然这个呢，我认为呢，本质上呢是因为这个即使是在一线城市他们的用户呢，其实也有对于高性价比的这些菲律宾外教1对1的业务的强烈的需求那么在疫情下，以及呢在其他的我们的产品的效果，其实在长时间周期下显现出比我们的这些竞争品牌更强的这个口碑那么我们其实看到一个特别好的现象，就是在一线城市其实虽然不是我们发力的重点，但是今年以来我们的一线城市的这个增幅也是明显的在提速那么您刚刚问到说这个销售团队其实销售团队呢，我们会从今年下半年开始，我们会更加的强调对他们的这个用户数的考核相对于这个收入的考核，所以这个也是我们的这个首单的客单价下降，但是用户数呢增长非常的迅速的一个原因之一那么最后呢，你问到关于这个 user retention那么我们现在一个大的方向呢，我们是希望呢可以进一步的强调我们的这个班主任团队的服务我们今年以来也一直在推动我们的班主任团队的进一步的服务的升级包括我们在未来的2个季度吧，我们都会去持续的去推进，让我们的班主任服务呢变得更好。所以我们希望呢用更好的服务从而去让这些这个用户呢在未来可以有更好的续费因为其实按照正常的这个按照呢逻辑来讲就是用户的首单的它的金额降低呢，它的续单金额是会增加的就是那么因为它的整体上的这个我们认为呢，它的整体的用户的 LTV 呢并不会有太大的下降那么但是呢，我们现在确实是有一个问题，因为我们现在由于这个用户的增长其实还是超过我们自己的预期所以确实呢，我们现在看到班主任团队的人员是不足的班主任老师的这个人数增长现在并还是有些挑战所以因为我们在过去的这个班主任老师团队并没有增加那么快，所以呢这个呢会是我们在未来2个季度都会面临的困难，就是我们的班主任老师呢可能需要更多的班主任老师去保持这个我们的服务能够真正的去传递，所以这个会是我们在未来2个季度也需要去增加更多的班主任老师，从而更好的把我们的服务标准呢更高的服务标准可以落地下去。
All right. So in terms of the student profile for the new students, there's no big difference compared to last year. It's very similar. We're still seeing more than 70% of students coming from non-tier 1 cities. However, there is one change that is obvious that we're seeing tier 1 market, we're seeing a very nice user growth acceleration, and we believe it's for 2 reasons. Number 1, there are still customers looking for good values in tier 1 cities, and also number 2 reason is that it takes a while for the tier 1 city student customers to find out that some other products they cannot deliver as good result as 51Talk product. So it takes a while for them to figure that out and switch to our platform. So this is why we believe this tier 1 user growth acceleration will continue as we continue to improve our product quality and service quality. And so in terms of what we're doing, in terms of sales to really drive the acceleration, so as we mentioned before, we're putting higher priority on user growth, than the gross billing growth. So, it's actually quite easy. In terms of KPI, we just give user growth a higher weight than the gross billing, and it naturally drives our sales to trying to drive the user growth. In terms of user retention, and we are actually starting a initiative to improve the service quality of our students' success team. And it is very important our student success team will work very closely with parents and students to help them improve their learning experience to make sure they have good results. And as a result, we're expecting good renewal rates. We're expecting good referral rates. And as we continue to cut the size of our first order, you can naturally see that the renewal order size should increase, and at the same time, the renewal rate should increase. So as a result, you actually should see our students' lifetime value should increase that way. However, we are facing a challenge. That is when we continue to drive our new user growth. Suddenly, our student success team does not have the capacity to service, a much bigger user base. So we are working very hard to help improve their efficiency and to add headcounts in order to make sure they can deliver very high service standard and service quality to our students. So this is a challenge we're going to tackle in the coming 2 quarters.
It is clear. Thanks for the color. Congrats for a strong quarter.
Thanks, Paul.
As there are no further questions now, I'd like to turn the call back over to the company for closing remarks.
Thank you once again for joining us today. If you have further questions, please feel free to contact 51Talk's Investor Relations through our website, 51talk.ir.com, or the Pearson Group Investor Relations. Thank you.
This concludes this conference call. As you may now disconnect your line. Thank you.